Hey everyone, today I'm joined by RJ Roger. He co-hosts a podcast with Michael DiLeonardo, also known as Mikey Scars. Their show name is called No Excuses. Today me and RJ talk about how we got involved with Michael DiLeonardo, and of course we talk about the issues with Sammy the Bull. RJ also talks about all the other projects he's involved with. He's also an author, so I'll put all of his information in the video description below. Please subscribe to his channel and my channel if you want to get more interviews like this. And without further ado, let's get into RJ's story. Hey RJ, how you doing, man?
Everything's good. You've been asking me to do this for a while, and I told y'all as soon as I get some time, I'm gonna come on your show, and so here we are.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. We planned this one out for about a month ago or whatever, but we've been trying to hook up for quite a while now, but
Yeah,
I know you got a lot of shit going on too, you know what I mean? So I knew we'd eventually make it happen. So I appreciate you coming on, you know what I mean? Because you don't do a lot of shows like you were telling me. So I mean, if you don't mind, I mean, what kind of, made you think, okay, I'll go on this kid show?
yeah. I do very, very few appearances, and I get a lot of people ask me to come on and interview and stuff like that, but I almost never. And it don't matter how many viewers. A lot of people think, well, I got all these subscribers. I have this big. Doesn't matter to me. I will go on people that I think are trying to do something that's enriching, doing something positive, how a person carries himself. If you're a gentleman, if you conduct yourself as a gentleman and stuff like that. But I don't like to be. I don't want to stand in somebody else's. If there's bullets coming your way, I don't want to be standing next to a person that has bullets coming at them.
Yeah, no.
So, but now you're good friends with Kobe Roy, right?
Yeah. We live
So
in the same town.
Exactly. So Kobe and you asked me around the same time, and well, you were a little after Kobe, but I looked at Kobe and just like I like you. Kobe just a gentleman. He carries himself well, and so I say I'll do it. And then later on, I'll tell you what really did it. I saw one of your clips. You put out I guess you cut your shows up and make little shorts out of them. You had a very inspiring clip that I liked a lot. I said, let me see what this guy's about, And so I looked you up and I was like, all right, I'll go on his show.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man. I mean, I'm glad those shorts are working. I mean, dude, to be honest, if you guys should start doing it with your show, because I've gained so much. I think I gained most of my subscribers through them YouTube shorts, and you can just put, you know what's up. I mean, with the title, you put something interesting, a little quote, and boom, that shit just goes, man. I think I got one that has 50 to 60,000 views, it's insane, bro. But you get a lot of subscribers from it. I mean, so that's another good way to grow your channel. I don't know if you knew that one or not.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of shorts. I should do more. I think we did 7 or 8 of them. But you're right. I have 100,000 views from just shorts.
It's insane.
Yeah, for short team, then shorts do help things. Yeah. It's kind of like a commercial. I kind of look at it. It's like a promo for your channel.
That's true. I mean, it really is, I mean, so, for the people that don't know your shows, I mean, you got 2 of them. You got the Black Handprint that you kind of been holding back from because you're doing the show with, Mikey Scars now, No Excuses. I really like the show. I really like both of them, you know what I mean? But, now that you've been putting in a lot of work with this one, I've been following along with that. I know you guys got the Patreon that you were telling me about as well. So, what kind of hooked you up with Mikey Scars? I mean, I don't think the official answer is out there.
Actually, I don't know if it is out there. You're right. So I started Black Handprint Mafia, and I did Black Handprint for a year. And I never inspired to be a guy that's making 15-minute shows every week forever until I die. So it wasn't, even when I started doing Black Handprint, it wasn't to do it forever. I don't have no interest at all, zero, to be a YouTube, 15-minute show maker rest of my life. It was to build it up to kind of take me to where it kind of went. So Black Handprint was fun. I enjoyed it, and I did pretty well, relatively speaking. So I just happened. Michael was one of the guys he was one of the guys I found interesting and just in researching. I'm not like a moralizer on YouTube. A lot of some people are very they moralize a lot, and they will say, well, a person's this or a person's that, or a person's a rat or a person's a killer. I don't really look at it that simple. I kind of look at things. I really try to just take an analytical approach to anything. If I was going to moralize, I definitely wouldn't be. I wouldn't study. I wouldn't be studying. Cosa Nostra. I'd be studying maybe like the Vatican or the Pope or something.
Yeah. No,
so,
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So for me, I like intelligent people. It's something I'm drawn to intelligent people. And I read Michael's testimony and some of the information that was out there on him. And I said, wow, this guy is super intelligent. This guy is real smart. And it's the way he would talk about things, break things down. I just found him interesting. And then I listened to his interview on Gary Jenkins, which I thought was fascinating.
The only one that was out there. Only one that I could find, bro.
That's the only thing about him. He's kind of like me. And I think that's why we get along so well, because like we're like-minded, and you can't entice him with money. No. You can't entice him with your, we've turned down channels on YouTube that have invited us to come on. They got millions of subscribers. Millions. They wanted to do an interview. He's no. Your channel size, how much money, it ain't going to make a disciplined person that's being led by his own ethics, his own, his own principles, doesn't really make decisions in his life based on an opportunity for the moment. Michael's that way. So as you see, he's only did a couple things on YouTube, one with me, one with Gary. Gary had less subscribers than I had. He had 2,000 or something when he interviewed Michael, and I had like 4,000 or 5,000 maybe when I interviewed Michael. And Michael's is kind of like me, like if he has to be something about you that'll make him work with you. It don't matter what you offer him or what their subscriber counts are. So I made a show on Black Handprint about Michael, and when I found out about his life, where he comes from, his lineage, how far he goes back.
Wow.
I mean, the Gary interview, I said, wow, this guy's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I made 3 programs on him.
Damn.
And he saw them. And then that's how we met. He saw it, and then we got in touch with each other, and we just really just became friends at first. There really wasn't no plan to do a show. There really wasn't. There was no, and that came later on when I had asked him, hey, what do you want to come on and talk? And it took a while to even get him to agree to that, so and I offered to pay him. I always tell people this. I offered him a bunch of money. I was ready to break the bank to bring him on my show. And he said, no, I don't. And I never forget. I called him. I said, hey, I'll send you the money today. I offered him $10,000. That's how serious I was about trying to build up my channel and get things going.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I knew where I was in the parking lot when I was talking to him. He says, RJ, I don't want to be in your pockets. He said, yeah.
Damn.
And he said, let's just partner up on something. Like maybe we'll just do something together. And he said, come on out and hang out with me. So I went out and met him, and then we talked, and slowly we put it together. But no, he never took a penny from me. We just, yeah.
I mean, that's what it goes to show. I mean, if you're a good positive person, you get the information right. I mean, like him, bro. You went back on all of his history. I mean, that's pretty insane. Even to get where he was from and everything. So if you really want to get the attention of someone, I mean, you gotta really put in the work and the time. And it sounds like you really did, because you did 3 segments. And then he finally reached out. I mean, I don't even know how it all went, but I mean, eventually, you guys got and did a show together. I mean, and then then you started partnering up and shit. I mean, so no, that's good that you really put in the time and the effort. You never know where it's going to go. You know what I mean? And I think, like you said, he's not a money person, in the channel, the subscribers and shit. Like, it's just about, who you are as a person. I mean, that's what like you said, you did with me. I mean, you came on my show and I ain't got the, 100,000 subscribers and nothing like that, so, it's just about the person and who they are.
He, the funny thing, like all of us have like an alias YouTube account,
Yeah.
And the funny thing though, he was watching me early. Probably before I even had my first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's why I tell people, you don't know who's under the blanket on the street. You never know who you're talking to. Like, you don't know. and I had a effort of I responded to every comment ever left on Black Handprint up until it got too overwhelming. But I'd say until at least 5,000-6,000 subscribers, everybody left me a comment. I responded back to them, and I would get this guy who would say, "Hey, nice job, blah blah blah," and I didn't know who he even was. It's just a commenter, and he would occasionally comment on certain shows of mine, and I just knew him as a. And even when we met, he never told me. He said, I used to watch. I watched you for a while, but he never said who he. I'm like, man, I know he was watching me. But then when I'm doing my final show on Black Handprint, and I want to thank everybody, I'm going through my comments to find people that were longtime followers, and I saw his other YouTube name, and I called him and said, that whole time that was Mikey Scars talking to me. I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was him.
Dude, this is what I'm saying. Like, I get a lot of comments too, and I try to. Well, I mean, I do respond to them for the most part and stuff because I know how the YouTube algorithm, and because if you want to have a loyal fan base and have people interact with you, you don't want to just leave them hanging. So I always comment back, because I appreciate all of them. But like I get, sometimes I get some crazy comments, and they say, hey, I was involved with this life and. I was with this crew and shit. I don't know what to believe, you know what I mean? So I could see how you could just slip past something, I mean, even though he had his YouTube as a different name, but like, I mean, I'm sure you get a bunch of people that say, hey, I was with this crew, not like if it was Mafia, but it was like something else gang related that I have no knowledge about or anything. So I just sometimes struggle with what to say to them, but, because I don't know if they're bullshitting me or not. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I knew, if I pull like a short clip, about Anthony Castle. And he's like, oh, that guy, I know him. And it's like, do you really? I mean, I don't know whether what to believe or not,
That's the thing that I have learned. I was this close one day to bringing someone on Black Handprint. It's funny because I shouldn't even say this, but I guess she won't care. But Angel Gotti was the person that so it was this comment. I was in a comment section with this guy for all the time. And it was this guy always telling me like, hey, I got made with this guy and blah, blah, blah. And he kept on saying that, he wants to come out and talk, but he doesn't want to show his face. He was always talking about Junior Gotti and different people and stuff. And so in my comment, I'm like, look, listen, send me an email if you want to talk, you want to come on, I'll invite you on. And I'm a juvenile on this at this point. I'm just starting out.
Yeah.
And this guy's leaving me these comments, and he said, listen, I'll wear a mask and I'll distort my voice because I don't want to reveal my identity. And that's how sometimes when you first start out, you don't think about you want to build your channel and you want to get the best information. So you kind of you're looking at what's right in front of you. It could have ruined me.
Yeah, no.
Angel Gotti must have been in my comments. That was a show about her dad or something I made.
Yeah.
And she goes, RJ, he's lying. In the comment section, RJ, he's lying. And she says something about some testimony or how someone testified to who was in the room when they got made. And so I looked into it and found out this guy had to be a complete fraud. It couldn't have been true. But she's the one who said, RJ, in the comments, RJ, he's lying to you. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once you start getting involved with that, I mean, you got to know. Because you see like shit like, like Phil Leonetti, he's one guy that actually does do that still. I mean, he covers his face. I mean, he don't go on fucking shows like, he goes on the big platforms or whatever, but, he'll cover his voice and stuff. But I mean, to the extent, some of that shit's real, But yeah, I mean, it's so hard to try and distort shit. But like, you're right, it could have totally ruined your credibility. So
bad too.
So what do you do to respond to people like that? Just say, oh, that's cool.
I respond to everybody, but I don't take everything serious anymore. I've learned a lot by being on here. I've had, even with the sad thing is, I'm the kind of guy that I like to touch the fans, like viewers or supporters. I hate calling them fans. Just say people who support the channels. So if you say, hey, I would love to, have a cup of coffee with you. Hey, you send me an email, I'm going to respond to you. If you ask, you want to give me your number, I'll call. That's how I was with everybody. I was always like very hands-on. I was very accessible. I've helped people financially, like viewers that have problems. I've helped them out before. I've been scammed before. You come into it kind of ignorant. You come into it thinking that everyone's you kind of see the world through your own vision. I'm not a scam artist. I'm not a liar. I ain't the kind of guy that's going to, so I guess that's ignorant to come on here. I came on here thinking I wouldn't do it. And some people are really good. A con artist is really good. There was a guy who scammed a bunch of people in this genre. I was one of the ones he scammed. He said his house burned down. Damn. But he was this common guy who was in this genre that everybody knew him. Everyone knew his handle. And then he's saying his house burned down. He worked for NBC, all this stuff. And I was one of the guys that was in that donation club to help this guy out with his house that burned down. And somebody said, no, this is a scam. And it happens. And, and then kind of recently I had somebody who just went off the deep end. Sometimes you get people who you give them so much attention that they don't, they go too far. I'm not going to get into it publicly. But it just changed my mindset a little bit that I got to be more careful with how much. There's other guys that have gone. There's other people I talk to behind the scenes. I know Jeff has gone through it. Jeff Nadeau, he'll call me and say, "Hey, you got to be careful," because he's had people trying to blackmail him. People trying to, and he's just being a friend. Like a guy's a supporter of him, and then he just reaches back, says, "Hey," and he gives him a phone call. This and show courtesy, and then he's had people just trying to scam him and do things to him, and Jeff having changed phone numbers and stuff. So I've learned to be a little bit more careful. Now, yeah,
I agree, bro. You got to be careful with this stuff. Because you never really know who's behind that screen, and there's too much, shady shit already going on in this genre. Yeah. So, I think just got to be respectful and just cherish each one of them, because whether they talk shit or they support, either way, they're still watching the show. So you don't want to push them away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't want to make it like a negative thing, because I will say 99%. 99% of my experience on YouTube has been overwhelmingly good. Mm-hmm. So I hate to, minimize the good and, exalt the bad, So largely people have been, and this is a tough genre, as you know, to
yeah. No, I know, man.
Largely people have been, I only been here for like a year and a half.
Right.
And people have been very receptive to me. I don't have no one, channels don't really attack me. I get along with everybody. So my time on YouTube has been, I have nothing bad to say. I really can't say that. It's been more great feedback than anything else.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. And that's what I get a lot too, but there's, like you said, there's always the negative, but we always take the positive, and don't try to take all the bad shit to heart, because I know, bro, you put a lot of work into your videos, like you said, when you put it out, that's your masterpiece, that's your baby that you worked on and stuff. So I know, because you do segments, it's not like, interviews, podcasts and stuff. It's like you're making like a little mini documentary, like just covering the history and stuff. So I know you do your research and stuff. So, when you put in all that time, you gotta, you're happy with it when it comes out, and you don't want to let nobody tear it down. So you just take it with a grain of salt, like you said, and just don't take it to heart.
Yeah, for me, my general perspective on life is that humans are complex. So I start my life there. I walk on the floor of life with starting off believing that that a human is a complex person. So going into it with that perspective, it allows me, and I think it's been helpful for me in this genre, to be accepted by street guys who were gangsters like Michael. This is a captain in the Gambino family. He's not a joke. He goes back 100 years. He has to be careful with who he's not going to just pick anybody to work with. So I'm sure he was looking at a certain pieces about me before electing to work with me. So, in this genre, a lot of times you have to be a former street guy in the life, or maybe someone who grew up around it, or someone who, but typically you don't see a guy like me, an academic. I went to college, and I'm a business professional, and I'm not Italian. Probably. Is there any black guys? Am I the only black guy in the whole genre?
I think so, bro.
I think I'm the only one.
I think so, man. I really think so.
But for me, again, my floor of life is humans are complex. So I don't come into this looking to judge. I don't even judge it in my private thoughts. No humans. I look at, no matter what a person's doing, there's more to it. So I'm always like searching and digging and trying to find out what else is there. The frontline condition is never the answer. That's a lazy way of thinking, in my opinion. So you see a guy, not everyone agrees with it, but it's just how I look at the world. So if you see a guy, like, some people will just, if you want to cast a judgment on, let's say, John Gotti or even Michael DiLeonardo. So if you want to say John Gotti was a mafia boss, that means John Gotti's bad. That's a simple and underintelligent way, in my opinion, to look at him. There's far more to him than he's a mob boss. He might have ordered a killing. That equals bad. Or take Michael. He cooperated. He's bad. That's how some people think. That simple. That with no ability to analyze deeper. So many things happen beneath that activity. Same as John. Take John Gotti. Take Michael. There's so much about them as people that lead up to where we arrive in life sometimes. And I find if you dig into the bag a little bit of a person, you dig, because we're all kind of just a mixed bag. If you dig around in it, you find out there's far more to them than that one thing. And often, if you look hard enough, you really find something that you can love about them also.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean, dude. I really do. I mean, because, once for me too, like when I do all these interviews and shit, I really get to know these guys, their fucked up side and then their nice side that they are now, because they're no longer in that life. And, like you said, they weren't just that mobster, they had their family and all this other kind of stuff that they would do to help out. But yeah, they had these really dark sides to them, what I mean? And did a lot of bad stuff, But like you said, there's some way that you can form these connections and stuff now. For me, like, that's how, because they're not like that anymore. I mean, the majority of them.
But even if you look at them while they're doing it, it's still more to it. There's still more to it. There's, I heard Junior one day was talking about, he was asked about, when his brother passed away, got hit by the bike, or was hit on a bike.
Yeah.
And he asked about, I guess they were asking about, what was Senior's reaction? And Junior said, well, he didn't show much emotion. And I said, wow. And then he says one day, and this is the kind of stuff that makes me go, boing, now I'm looking, okay? Now I'm getting I'm looking down to get more. So he says, but I guess Senior had this like little den, like beneath like Junior's bedroom in the house. And you could hear it through the vent or something sometimes. And he said late at night, when everyone was sleeping and stuff, he would hear Senior down there crying, or, he was hurting over the death of his son.
Yeah.
But he didn't show that.
Right.
That was that was the private Senior.
Right. That they don't show.
Exactly. So, but that tells me something, that you feel that there's more to you, that there's more to a person, and you got to look at, and you keep looking around and you find that this life is just a tough life, man. Like, life will lead us in directions that sometimes you don't even know how you arrive there. Sometimes you don't even know what got you into this position, what made you do this certain thing. So it's really hard for me to give absolute answers on people. It's just really hard for me to, I don't look at humans necessarily, necessarily as bad or good. I just think a great person, they got some complexities about them too, where they got shames, regrets, things they wish they never did. And a person who you might say, oh, he's a bad person, he got some good, really great things that he did also. So which one are you? Which one are you? You robbed Mary one day. You robbed Mary's house. You launched a food drive and fed 1,000 homeless people. Which one? So which one can I say I am? Am I the bad guy that robbed Mary, or am I the good guy that fed 1,000 people?
Right.
Or am I a little complex?
No, you're right. I mean, like, you think about, you watch a movie, you watch the main character in the movie, they give you the perspective on everything that went on in their life. And then, you feel this connection to them. And then now you understand, oh man, this is why this guy's so fucked up, because all this stuff happened in his life, because, all this stuff happened, that made him like this. I mean, you kind of just go down the shitty path with them because you're in their shoes or whatever, like in the movie. And it's just like you understand, you get more perspective on shit. And I think is that what that's what you're saying, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is once you really know what went on.
Exactly.
What I mean?
No, exactly. And our formative years, the things you see up until from birth until 13, they tell a lot about who you are at 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 and things like that. A lot of what really gives you your struggles in life, like your pains and your strengths or your weaknesses, or your the things that kind of are your what creates your ego or your insecurity, what makes you uncomfortable, what gives you anxiety. A lot of where that stuff comes from that you're dealing with later in life, it's usually tied to something in your early life. So so certain things happen even when you're very young that kind of draw you, they kind of draw the definition of you, and it can lead you to sometimes a place that you don't even know how you got, like I said, you don't even know how you arrived there. But if you kind of dig in your mind a little bit, something early on led to where you're at the end. So John Gotti died handcuffed to a bed, right? But go back the whole way. Guy comes out of a tough situation, and some people say it doesn't matter, we all make our own choices. That could be true. Or it could be, but I think that a lot of our environments and stuff like that kind of drive us into a certain place in life.
Yeah, and you guys did a really good segment, you and Mikey. I think it was on, well, I watched it on YouTube, but I think you guys did it like, this last week, you gave the perspective of John Gotti and those tapes and what was going on, you know what I mean? So that's that, I mean, you don't always hear that because, like you said, Sammy the Bull kind of written the history of, John Gotti, because John Gotti, he didn't have a podcast or nothing like that. So, you think if he did, what would everything, there would be so much different. There would be so much different beliefs and everything else out there. And you'd understand his side of it versus just him, because they didn't get along. So obviously Sammy's not going to say good shit about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I have my opinion on it, but I think it's fair to say Senior didn't agree, right? It's very surprising as to how this became like controversial. I'm like, wow, I literally just read the book. I didn't change nothing. So I was kind of surprised, like, how are people mad? Like, what did I do? I didn't change the wiretap. I just read it. And I said, hey, Michael, what does this mean? He just said, hey, it means this. And it looks like that's, now I'm not saying we should say John's right.
No
more than I'm saying we should say Sammy's a liar. I'm not saying that Sammy's right and John's a liar. Let we just put it out, and everybody can decide what they want
Yeah,
to
what they want to
decide
do
what
with
they
it.
decide what they believe.
Yeah, no, and I agree because like it's like there's just so much drama and beef. I mean, it's never going to answer anything. You know what I mean? Like people are
Yeah.
still going to believe one side and the other is going to do that. I mean, there's no coming to a conclusion with the shit. So it's just you put out the actual facts and history that was in that the wiretap, for example, that you're doing that segment on, and that's it because that's all we have
Mhm.
that links us back to something that's real and that draws a conclusion on something. I mean, there's solid history, and that's what you want to cover instead of all this drama and all this hectic shit because it'll never come to an end. Like it'll never come to a right answer. I don't think someone's just say, yeah, this guy's right.
No, I
That's
agree.
just kind of how I think. That's why I like the history aspect of it. I think if you're
Mhm.
going to do stuff in this genre, you should do the history stuff, and that's what you do. That's what you and Mikey do. So that's the stuff I enjoy. That's what I want to hear. I don't, all the controversial stuff. Yeah, it's interesting to some people and stuff, but I think the history is really what's important.
I think there's a lot that people can learn from it, and that's practical in everyday life. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. No, I do too, man. And with that being said, I mean, so how did that kind of work? I mean, you guys did the wiretap thing. You read it, then Sammy got pissed off because he's seen it, and then that's kind of he made a video, and then Mikey just addressed it. Mikey wasn't calling him names or nothing. I watched the whole thing. I mean, he
No, we
wasn't
didn't.
being disrespectful.
No, you'll never hear. I never heard Michael. And again, I can speak from before the show. I know what we talk about. Um, that isn't even public. Michael isn't the kind of guy that is like he's not gossipy. He doesn't sit around bad talking people. I said this guy spent I think 47 years in that life. He was born into it. He was born,
47.
yeah.
Shit.
He was born into it, and he was in it. So he has more time on the planet in it than out of it. So I sometimes don't understand when people say like some of the when I've heard criticism that he still thinks he's no I just think he is what he is. It's just what you are. Just because you take take a person, you put them in a different environment for less time than they've been in this other environment, it doesn't make them any different of a person. So I never hear Michael bash or bad talk anyone. It wasn't about. I didn't feel like it was an attack. I'm really surprised he got so upset. I mean, I'm very surprised. But I'll say this because I don't want to make it some righteous thing. There's, Michael is offended by, and I'm speaking from for RJ, so I don't want no one to take what I'm saying as gospel from Michael, but this is just my perspective. Largely, when Michael reflects on the life he comes from, I've never hear him bad talk it. He doesn't slander people. He don't bad talk anybody. He looks at it and just it has his perspective on it. There's a few people that he only have ever spoke to me about, three people ever that I think he feels that those that a few people have been offensive to whatever Cosa Nostra means to him,
Right.
and that's some of the things we discuss on our show. But largely, I mean, find me a clip. Someone showed me somewhere where Michael's FUing somebody, telling someone suck this or do this.
Never.
You won't find it. He doesn't act. He doesn't talk or act that way.
No, and that's the best way to act. I mean, it's just there's no reason to get involved with all of it, and like you said, he just gives his perspective because he was someone that was in that life, you know what I mean? So to have someone like that, you can really use that to your advantage, you know what I mean? And really get the history aspect of it because he was someone who was there and who was really active. He was a capo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of capos, especially in the Gambino family that shit I know talking, I mean there's not these he's really really important to the history for saying it, and keeping open-minded opinion on stuff, I suppose, not such a closed-minded where he's like, oh, that guy's no good, because there's guys that do that, so Mikey's pretty open. I mean, hell, he was even saying, thank you to Sammy on those segments and stuff, where after he had gotten bashed and stuff by him, but he kept cool and what I mean?
No, it's I don't think you'll ever see. But you know what? As much as I like the guy, if he was that type of guy, I wouldn't work with him.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I have to live my life and do different projects, and I got goals for my life. But you know what? He wouldn't work with me if I was that type of guy. If I was the kind of guy who was uncontrolled and acted like a fool all the time, we wouldn't be doing this show together. We're kind of like-minded and in that way where, you can't let somebody else's asshole suspend your gentleman, so you just can't do that, and I would never let somebody, like, never, no matter what, I believe in life, the best response is no response. You're saying the most sometimes by saying the least. So I completely, I've been attacked on here by people. There's been creators and stuff that have said things about me at times. I would never respond to stuff like that. I would always try to carry my goal is simple. Everything I make, the people I love the most, my daughter should be able to watch it without saying, that's my fucking dad. That's how my dad acts. Like, I want what I do to reflect well by, if I have to be like, oh my God, my mom's going to see this. Oh my gosh, she's going to say, how did I raise this kid? Then I wouldn't put it, I just wouldn't do stuff like that.
Yeah. Always think if your family's going to watch it, like what they're going to think, because no, I agree with you, man. That's just, if you be who you are, and that's what's gonna, keep you. I don't know, man. Like, if you're just you're you. You know what I mean? It's when you're doing your show. It's not like you're pretending to be someone else. And that's how me and you conduct our shows. I mean, and it just makes it easy, and it's not a hardship or some stressful thing to do. I mean, I enjoy doing these shows. I enjoy having different people on, and like I told you, I was working on the documentary series, and I did my best from doing all the research and everything I could find, and interviewing all the people, and editing by myself and stuff. And I know you're trying to get into the documentary stuff as well, which mine's not a major production or nothing like that, but I mean, it's just one of my first things to get into. So I want it to be something that people, like you said, if your family's watching stuff, that's like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of violence and stuff going on in it, but it's not, but that's just covering the history, and at the end, I make it very clear at the end of each episode. It's like, this ain't the life you want, stay away from this criminal life, da 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 da. And I go on, for about 30 seconds or whatever, just to leave it on a positive note, you know what I mean? But like you said, I mean, there's so many different projects and stuff that we can do and make all these connections through YouTube and stuff, and build your name, build your brand. You can build your brand off of TikTok, especially as well. Like I said, if you want to get more into the short clips, I mean, I recommend you do that. I mean, just don't expect not to get banned, because I did for my stuff, because I guess they have, they got their strict rules and stuff, but I got my account back and everything. But there's so many ways that you can build your brand and, really work to get into a higher project, and I mean, you took a big risk, right now. I mean, like you said, you had this job transition. I mean, I think that's important for people, to hear that kind of stuff, because look where this channel got you, man. I mean, and now you get to work on, writing a book, and, working with Mikey. And then now you're working on this documentary as well. Have you started working on that at all?
So I got a bunch of projects I've been working on for the past 4 years. So that's been like a 4-year. I always tell people, if you want to, like, you have to be, I'm now convinced that you have to be irrational, not rational. Because a rational person just would not put themselves through spending so much of their money, staying up all night, being attacked for nothing. Having a rational person goes, what is it all worth? But so I've been working on a lot of different things that it's not even public yet. That I put I put a lot of myself into. That's part of why I had to get out of my professional job, because it was getting to a point I was doing 18, 20 hours a day work. So my Monday through Fridays I would fall asleep every night with a laptop in my hand, a book in my hand, things like that. So yeah, I'm a part of a film project where we're shooting a feature film. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with it. That's why I don't talk about it publicly yet. But nothing to do with mob stuff. Nothing at all. I have another one that's more autobiographical film. I have things that I was working on those. So that's 2 that I was working on. I have a 3rd that I was supposed to be starting. But I'm so busy that I probably can't do it right now. So I'm going to delay that one. But, and then I'm working on a major book. This is I did 3 independent books, in my life. And now one of them got picked up by a major publisher. So it's being republished with 7 new chapters. So that's been taxing on my time. Done all my YouTube work and my podcast work. And so I shot pilots for different companies and stuff. I help other companies with marketing stuff, with social media things. So I just had so much going on from after I left work. So I would leave work, always took an hour off between 4:30 and 5:30. I didn't do nothing. And then 5:30 till 1 or 2 in the morning
working,
doing so much other things. So
yeah.
But like I said, a rational person would just say, fuck it. This is crazy.
They would.
But I'm a believer. But I find more opportunity in what I'm doing for myself than I find going to work every day forever. So and my mindset was always the same. I always went to work to use my money to invest in my projects. I self-fund. Yeah, I self-fund all my projects. I don't take funding from anybody, even people who offer me money. Largely, I invest my own money. That's why sometimes I take it a little bit more. I never made a nickel on YouTube. Never.
Damn.
Never. Any money I have ever made, I'm negative. I have way more out than has ever come back in. There's not a hidden cost in doing what we do. And I'm sure it's a lot of hidden costs that you don't even realize. Man, I spent this for that. That sweater, you had to buy that, had that made before you could do the show. The
background,
the background. You're paying StreamYard. So this just your microphone, your lighting, and you have all the costs. Headphones, you got. Forget about your time. We didn't even go there yet. Software programs, software that you're paying monthly fees for. So I got many different editing softwares. I have to pay a monthly graphic design, paying people to do graphics for you. Or I taught myself now because it's too expensive. But you pay for all these packages on a month-to-month basis. I pay maybe 4 different software packages a month just to edit my shows and put them out. It's a lot that goes into it. So people who think that you're just in this for the money. What? I don't make any money. I don't make any money. What are you talking about? I spend money to do this. So
it's all going to a greater good, though, I suppose. I mean, overall, it's presented you with all these other opportunities that the rational person that says, fuck it. They wouldn't have got these opportunities because you're the one that stayed up and worked till 1 or 2 in the morning. Wake up early in the morning and go to sleep early in the morning, after a 20-hour day, because that's what's really gonna separate you from everyone else, is because when you're working and you everybody else gets off after 8 hours or whatever it is, 9 hours, and then they come home, go to bed, relax, watch TV, play games. Fuck that. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I want to continue working and building my shit. And so I know what you mean, bro. Like, I'm not interested in all the other stuff. I couldn't. I just can't. I just feel I get anxiety. Like I'm wasting my time, and I'm like, fuck, what am I doing here? So I'll get on my laptop and stuff, and I just work, man. I don't mess around and do all the other shit. On the weekends, I'm working, man. I'm doing this.
Exactly what you say. I don't go to clubs. I don't go to bars. I don't watch sports really. I used to be a big Eagles fan. I always watch the games. I can't sit for 4 hours and just have my feet up. I'm always working. I work non-stop every day. But the thing about it is you put a lot into it, but if you don't put it into yourself, you don't got no chance at all. I'm not a consumer minded. Some people are consumer minded. They get money and they buy. Okay, so they buy things that are depreciating. They buy things that really don't add no value into their life, and it provides them no escape out of whatever they're doing to earn their money that they don't like to do. Most people hate their job, but I don't understand why. If you hate your job so much, you really shouldn't do it every day. Take the proceeds of the job you hate and spend it on something that's going to keep you there
in that same position.
So I always took mine and put it into my projects, but usually the money will come back. So I got one or two things that I'm going to be closing out on soon, where, knock on wood, assuming everything goes through, I should get most of what I have out, all of it back on one deal, on one thing.
Yeah.
And I got a lot out. I mean, not relatively speaking, a lot for me. I'm just a regular working guy, but I spend my money on my projects, and then so we'll see. Like, I did 3 independent books. I got a lot of money into them, but now that I'm going to do one, and one's getting republished, it gives me the opportunity to get back everything. That one should give me the opportunity to get back everything I invested into the first 3.
Yeah, and then maybe the next book, and then you got the next. Maybe the other 2 will pick up. Who the hell knows? You know what I mean? Yeah. But if not, then you can do your next one, and then shit, you already got your money, you got all the information, you got the experience. Because the first time you do anything, it's so much work, but then after you get it down, it's like after I made my first episode for my documentary, the second one was so much easier. It took so much less time. It took fucking a third of the time, because you know what you're doing. And then you continue to use that knowledge and, use it to continue to grow, and you grow faster, and you can pump more shit out and in a less amount of time, you know what I mean? And, same thing with your projects. I mean, yeah, they're hard and they take long right now, but you think about it, bro, like eventually you just be popping them out, and then you'll have a team, pop,
And I've learned with shame on me also, because we don't see the power that we have in this DIY world that we're in now. Technology, really, if you have just I won't even say a lot, if you just have a little bit of discipline or willingness to to complete something, it's not like before where you need so many outside people to help you. Like, the first film project I did, I hired a film company. They shot the whole thing for me. They edited the whole thing. I had to pay for have a set put together, and it cost me $7,000 out of my own bank account. And for one thing and then it was a pilot that I shot myself that I had to use for a prospective project, and it never went nowhere. I still have it, but I never used it. I never made a penny back on it. And sometimes I would kick myself and say, I spent $7,000, and it's on my computer. It's saved. I never did anything with it yet. But then I have other film work that I wanted to do, and I'm thinking, how the hell do I keep paying some film person to come? And then I thought to myself, why don't I just buy my own equipment? You can buy like a 4K documentary film equipment camera for a good one for $2,500. Your own camera. And then you get some good lighting and stands and microphones and everything. But you can get your own package. Spend $5,000-6,000. For that $7,000, I could have bought enough equipment to shoot it myself. Actually, the one I shot that paid the $7,000 for wasn't even 4K definition. I could have shot it better. I could have done it better by buying my own stuff. But
and you could edit it too. You could just fucking use Adobe or some shit.
there you go. So, but
Something.
you know what? But you know how I look at that 7,000 I spent on having someone do that for me. I looked at it as like tuition cost because it taught me do it yourself. So now I acquired all my own stuff, and I bought all my own editing software, and I sat on YouTube and on Google looking up how do you cut a piece of film, how do you add a photo, or how do you add footage into something, how do you blend it, how do you add animations, how do you add fades and different things, how do you fade in, fade out. I taught myself how to do it. So the new one I'm in the it's in progress, I'm shooting currently. I shot the whole thing myself. I got all my own. I have good lighting. I got the best stuff. I have everything, and I can do 10 of them. I have all my own equipment, and I taught myself how to edit.
Shit,
So
you can do unlimited, not just 10, bro.
So now I can do everything myself.
Yeah, and this what happens when you invest in yourself. Like you said, you got the equipment, and you just had to invest your time so you can learn knowledge. I mean, there's so much shit on YouTube and Google. I mean, you can do it. It's so doable now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to do something, then you do it. But to certain people, we might sound fucking nuts right now.
No, we are fucking nuts.
I guess that's true.
It is fucking nuts to sit up for 18 hours and be reading about putting a picture into a photo. You have to be crazy. There's so much more out there. There's good looking women. There's good music at in the club. There's
there's so many distractions that we could be doing. For us, distractions for us, but to everyone else, I mean, that's just what they enjoy. I mean, and this is what we so happen to enjoy.
But you know what, bro? If you look at anybody that's ever gotten anywhere, that's what they all did. They all put it all on the line. I spent tens of thousands of dollars of my own money out of my own bank account. At the time, I got to pay tuition and put my daughter into college and stuff like that. I spent a lot of money on all these different projects. And I tell you, I'm not even, and maybe I'm just, I don't know, got some megalomania or some narcissism in me. I don't know. Maybe I'm like what you said. Maybe I really am fucking nuts. But I tell you what, I don't have 1% doubt inside of me that it's not going to pay off. Not one. I wouldn't have left. I left a 6-figure job to do the things that I'm doing now. Like so you wouldn't do that if you had doubt that it wasn't going to work. So I got, I'm shooting a film treatment right now for someone to take. So I'm trying to sell the film idea, but I shot it to sell the idea. So they'll look at it and if they want to buy it, I'm going to sell the treatment to them. So I know that in time the investment will come back, but it'll come back way bigger. It'll come back way, way bigger. It's my belief. That's my belief.
Yeah,
but
because
I could be nuts.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not so far-fetched, you know what I mean? And once you have that belief in you and you know it to be true and you know that you're not going to slack and you know that you're going to put a lot of your time into this shit, whatever it is, whatever you want to do, like it's just you have no doubt that you're not going to fail. I mean, if you do, guess what you're going to do? You're going to fucking get back up and do it again. You're going to keep trying until you excel and learn different ways. You're going to, restructure shit. You're going to look at it and say, why did I do it like this? Why didn't I do it like this? Make it different. You're just not going to give up. I mean, we have different drivers, we have that motivate us, and it's nice, bro. I mean, it's nice talking to someone like you that understands this shit, because I don't know many people like me that just, do the shit like this, where I'm at, I just don't have anyone to talk to like that.
And that's the hardest part about it is that's why I always say I don't accept a lot of people's opinions. I will accept an opinion on someone who, like I read before, the only time two people are at the same exact time are both right on the same thing is the person that says I can and the person that says I can't. So we could both be standing and say, you know what, let's run a marathon this year. One person says, "Oh, I can't run a marathon." One person says, "I can run a marathon." The person who can't, who says that I can't, yeah, he can't, because he already stopped himself from doing it. He
Right.
already said, "I can't do it." Okay, well, you're done. I say I can do it. So I got way more power than you have, even at the starting point, because I think I can do it. So I got you beat already. You canceled yourself the minute that you said that you can't. You are done. You canceled your ability to even have the power, the brain power, everything. But when you say I can, it activates this different, all these windows and doors in your mind begin to open up. When you say I can't, your mind has no ability to even, like, let's see how we can do it now. But if you at least start with, like, my daughter raising my kid, can't in this house was like a curse word. I would get mad. Don't ever say that word to me. Don't ever say that you can't do something. Like, like, I don't understand. Like, so for me, if you just start off with, yeah, I can do it, you're way ahead of the game, because your mind now starts thinking about what's it going to take
Yeah.
to do it.
You're right. I mean, because it just keeps opening and opening. Okay, I can do it. Yeah, it might be a little hard, but hey, let me run around the block a few times this day. Let me eat healthy or whatever the hell it is. You know what I mean? And you just keep opening and going and going and going and going, and it don't stop. I mean,
Yeah.
once you open that door. So I like that. I like exactly what you say because, yeah, kids as well, they like to say, I can't, but
Mhm.
that is such a shitty way to think because if they start developing that at that age, you got to put a stop to it because if not, they're going to keep saying that shit. And then they're not going to have the power to, think for themselves and think that they can do shit, So I know I always get on my daughter about that shit too, bro. So she's only,
And
she's younger, now. I mean, she's, like you said, your daughter's a lot older or whatever, but
yeah, she's a little
mine's
older.
still young, like a
But
5-year.
like, what's funny? Like, people are comfortable with putting themselves down, but they're uncomfortable with talking themselves up. And we're around so many dead-minded people that we almost think that the right thing is the wrong thing, and the wrong thing is the right thing. So a person who says, "Oh, I can do anything I want. I'm going to be great one day. I'm beautiful. I look good. No one looks better." What a vain, arrogant SOB. That's the perspective that people have on people who speak themselves up. They look at you and go, "Oh, you're so vain. Oh, you're so arrogant." And my new favorite one, "You're a narcissist." That's the new attack line. You know, everybody who you don't like is now a narcissist in the, in this world. But then you hear someone go, "Well, I'm fat," and then people are okay with you calling yourself ugly, calling yourself fat, saying you can't do it, because now they feel better because they think that way about themselves. But if you're talking to somebody that thinks themselves up, thinks themselves high, they don't even impregnate their mind with negativity like that. And I've learned that by being around successful people. When you go around successful people, they don't talk the way unsuccessful people talk. Their mindset is so, they think above their abilities. They think higher than even their abilities have most of the time. And they're not offended by your self-love or I mean, you can lie to yourself and say you're ugly, but you can lie to yourself and say you're beautiful. If I'm going to lie to myself, I'm going to lie in the positive direction.
Yeah.
I could be 300 pounds, 400 pounds. Woo, no one's body is as nice as mine, because at least that power that you're feeding your brain can help get you out of that condition.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say, "I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm nothing, I'm so bad," you're never going to get out of that state of mind. You have
No.
to feed yourself countering information. And it can't hurt you to tell yourself something good about yourself.
No.
It can't
It
hurt you
won't.
at all.
It won't. And like you said, it just keeps on opening them doors, as long as you say the right shit to your head. But if not, you're gonna stay down there, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? That's just the true shit.
yeah, yeah. That's why I don't really like, a guy told me before that you gotta get out of a small town. You gotta go to where things are happening, because small towns have small minds. You get people that if you're around a depressed environment, depressed people, if you're around impoverished people a lot, people who just everything's always going bad, it's there's an energy associated with that. Before you know it, you start thinking like that. It's hard to feel motivated around people who just don't have any motivation. So you got to get around like-minded people. I cut a lot of people off. I've had lifelong friends who I won't answer the phone for, not because I don't love you, but you drain me. When you call me, you drain me. You make me just feel like I tell you, man, I never looked at any, I don't care what color you are, green, blue, purple. I don't care where you come from. I don't care if you're skinny, fat, tall, short. I don't care. If I'm prejudiced against anything, it's lay down Sally's. It's people who don't fight back. And there ain't no, there's no major key to life. I've read all these damn self-help books in my life and stuff. And you think, I'm trying to find the answer to how to live, to how to get rich, how to do good in life. And you read all this stuff, thousands of pages. But if you look at the central theme of every motivational speaker, every self-help book, every therapist, every psychologist, anything that's motivating, there's one theme. You gotta fight. You gotta be a fighter. And if you don't have any fight, life's gonna be hard. You gotta be able to, when you're raising your kids, it's going to be a fight to make them into what you want them to be. If you get married, or you have a girlfriend, it's going to be a fight to keep her happy. And if you got brothers and if you got projects that you want to do, goals for your life, it's going to be a fight. Anything that you want out of life, life's going to test you, and you got to be willing to fight. So it's not, if you want to write a globally respected self-help book, publish a one-page book. It's a cover, a page, and the end. And you know what the fucking book should say? Fight. Just fight in this life. Just fight and be a fighter. And then if you're willing to fight, you'll get there. That's how I see the world.
No, I agree with you, man. I mean, once you keep fighting, you're going to keep growing and growing. I mean, but if not, you're going to stay in that same position forever and ever and ever, man. Ain't nothing going to change, and you're going to feel sorry for yourself. But once you start feeling like, hey, I can get out of this shit. I can get out of this job. I can get out of this place that I'm living in. And there's opportunity, then you can. But if you don't fight for it, you ain't going to have it, bro. And that's that.
You know what? If you don't fight for it, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve to get anything you're not willing to fight for. So, I mean, I come from, there was nothing given to me ever. I took care of myself since I was a kid. And I don't mean I'm talking like a kid, like not even a teenager yet kid. And all I knew that you just have to get up and you have to try. And that's it. You have to fight through what's the fight today. And life is not this grand, it's not this simple thing. It's a thing that you have to fight. You have to fight for it. But life is just life, no matter how the conditions change. You get up in the morning, you go outside, it's raining. You get up in the morning, you go outside, it's sunny sometimes. You just got to be prepared for that day. Some day you got to have a raincoat and and an umbrella, and some days you can wear shorts, but you can't get married to either one. If you become married to good weather, your life's gonna suck when it's snowing and it's raining. But if you get married to the snow and the rain, then you're never going to be able to appreciate a sunny day. You just got to be you, and you just have to somehow try to be that same person, no matter the weather. Because you're you. The weather changes, but you don't have to change. You can just be you.
No, I like it. And that's why I know you're a good author, bro. I got to get some of your books, man, because I really like the way you analogize shit, and really, give a description about everything, man, because what you're saying is true, man. It really is, I don't know. I really liked it, man. I really enjoyed everything you told me today. I mean, this is, for my channel, I mean, I really want to go into this direction, with having conversations like this. I also want to cover the mafia too, the mafia history. So, I'm in a position right now where I'm figuring stuff out, but this is the kind of shit that I like. This is the shit that that I eat,
Bro,
man. I love.
the mob represents fight. That's what the mob represents. Now, if you want to moralize, then forget the conversation. But if you just want to look at, and that's what I looked into. When Meyer Lansky had that famous quote, "We're bigger than U.S. Steel," he wasn't lying. They were at the time. And they came over to this country. I say it all the time. It was bad conditions going on in Sicily. Yeah. Bad doctors, bad schooling. Everything was bad. They came here with no opportunity, no social standing, no economic standing, and they were hated by the country. They weren't welcomed over here. They were treated very bad. They were paid less on the job. They were, the Irish police force, they weren't, they hated the Italians. A lot of the Irish police force, but they didn't like Italians. It was real tough. And say what you want to say by what they did or how they did it, but they fought against the condition. When the country wasn't helping them, wasn't giving them stuff, they figured out a way, keeping it in-house, and built themselves up. Judge it how you want to judge it, but they fought against their conditioning. Here and in Sicily, who has fought more than Sicily? People have been trying to steal their land for hundreds and hundreds of years. They were trying to conquer Sicily. All kind of different countries were coming in, trying to take their land. And they fought. They just fought. That's why Sicilians are so, Sicilians are, it's them and nobody else. Because they had to fight with just each other and fight everybody off all the time. So I think that even looking at Cosa Nostra history, they had to be fighters. They were fighters, and that's it.
You're right, and that's probably why, you have to be Italian to be a made man. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to let any outsiders in because they were receiving all these bad conditions and all this other shit. They don't want nobody else in there but them. Because they had to deal with this struggle. You know what I mean? Yeah. People don't think about it. They think about how this organization rose up, but they don't see they see all the hits and all the killing and all the drugs or whatever the hell it was, how they made money, gambling, booking, whatever, sports betting, but they don't see why did that for them? Why didn't they have opportunities?
Ethnic groups ethnic groups that stuck together always did better when they were to. It don't matter. Forget about the Italians, Jewish people, Asian people. It doesn't matter. The people that stuck together to build up something and had a mindset to pass it on, keep it in the lineage and stuff like that. And you build up. They built up, and it usually worked better when you had people who were a lot of times it's not racism. It's just like-minded. Sometimes you just understand your fellow person that comes from your culture. You understand how they think. You understand their value system. You understand how they do certain things. It's not always racist. It's sometimes just you understand that person's mindset. And it's easier to do business and work with somebody who you know how they are and you understand the way they think.
No, you're right, man. I see how they would form like that, you know what I mean, and come to each other, like you said. But I suppose we're at that hour mark or hour and 10 minutes, so I really appreciate you coming on, man, and taking out time, just to sit here and talk to me, man, because we ain't on our phones, we're not distracted. It's just two people having a conversation, man, and that's important, and to have that, because you don't get a lot of that, in today's day and age and stuff. So if you guys want to comment any key takeaways, please do. Please subscribe to my channel, also RJ's. I'll put the links to both of his channels in the description as well. I'll have the Black Handprint Mafia channel. I don't think you do much with it right now, but the main channel he's on right now is No Excuses with Mikey Scars. And you got anything else you want to promote, RJ?
No, I'll just tell you, brother, keep doing what you're doing. You're a young guy, you got in early, and I think your future is going to be very bright. The way you think already, you're ahead of the pack, brother. So I think they're going to do real well.
Well, thank you, RJ. I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate all the advice you gave me and to anybody else that watches this, man.
Thank you.
Well, what'd you think? RJ's got a really interesting story. That man works his ass off, so he deserves every bit of attention that he's getting. Please subscribe to his channel if you haven't yet. He's got a lot of interesting stuff on there. If you want to support me and my brand, I got t-shirts, hoodies, beanies, and sweats all on my website. I'll put my website link in the video description. I also got a documentary series about the American Mafia that's going to be coming out. There's 11 episodes, and each episode is about a different crime family. Please hit subscribe if you want to get that when it comes out. And at the end of this video, I'll put a playlist of all my other Mafia-related interviews that I think you'll like. Now, here's a sneak peek to my series about the American Mafia. Check out this trailer. This life is very twisted. You never know when it's your time to go. One day you're putting in work with someone, and the next day they're taking you out.
In our days, it was very quiet. You know, nobody ever talked about this. You know, nobody glamorized it. It was all like hush hush.
Not a glamorous life. And again, it's not what you see in Goodfellas. It's not what you see in Casino. Some days you were dead broke. Some days you had $2,000 in your pocket. It wasn't every day. You know, you don't know anything else. You don't know what it is to go wake up 6 o'clock and go to work. Work? What the fuck is that? I wasn't going to work.
Even bosses get murdered in this life.
There was younger guys underneath him, and he wasn't doing the right thing, I guess. He was coming out of the card game, and unfortunately, a lone gunman came up and shot him 5 times.
People who knew me would tell you I like to use the bat a lot. If I had to shoot you, I'd shoot you too. I've done that.
This life requires many mixed personalities. You have to wear many hats in this life to try and survive.
You become 4 or 5 different people all at once. And you got to go home and be a dad and a husband. You got to go to work and do your job. You got to be out in the street and be a gangster.
The Bonanno family is called the Bonanno family because of my grandfather, Joe Bonanno.
That life there is done. Today you have to be legitimate today.
But you got to be an idiot to want to be a hooligan today. Jail times now, like 100 years for doing nothing.
Yeah, you'll be dead, in prison for life, or in the witness protection program.
I don't know anybody. Now, when the Mafia turned their back on me, I know everybody.
There was the big flip of the Gambino underboss, Sammy the Bull Gravano.
Here he is, signing autographs in a restaurant on Mulberry Street. And was supposed to be a secret organization.
He was a very, very, very violent guy. No question about it.
Albert Anastasia, he was a Brooklyn guy. He was probably the biggest killer in the history of the mob.
Michael Francis, his father, Sonny, was a really tough guy. But he really raised his son right.
If you want to see a gangster, that's Sonny Francis. And John Sr. don't compliment anybody.
This is a documentary series about the American Mafia. It includes 11 different crime families. Each episode is about a different one. The crime families include the Gambino, Genovese, Bonanno, Colombo, Lucchese, the Gallo Crew, Chicago Outfit, the Philadelphia Mafia, the Patriarca, the Trafficante crime family, and the Jewish Mafia. Please subscribe to my channel to watch each episode as they come out.